Here we go. Welcome to Pilates of Cheshire, the Mindful Mat Pilates class on Wednesday mornings. And for the class today, you will need a yoga block to be used as a seat or a prop. You will need a blanket or a towel, something for padding knees, hips, or elbows, if applicable. And you will also need a non-elastic band, which could be a yoga belt proper, or it could be a scarf or a belt you wear on your body, just something that is not elastic in any way. You don't want it to stretch. You want it to be very solid and firm. And we'll just put that off to the side until we get to that part of our class. So just to support all of your just array of physical things that are happening for you this summer, whether it's biking or hiking or gardening or playing some sort of pickleball or whatever you're doing to stay active. Maybe it's check all of the above. Um, let's just work the full gamut of the core musculature. So the abdominal area, which is comprised of the actual abdominal muscles for flexing the spine, the obliques for side bending and rotating, the muscles along the back for extension and rotation and side bending, and then kind of working also on our hips and legs, shoulders and arms. So we'll try to get a little bit of everything in today. But let's begin by breathing more deeply and intentionally. So bring your block with you and come onto your back. And let's use the block as a spacer between our legs, right? So notice about your block that you have options. It could be very skinny between your legs. It could be very wide between your legs. And so what you're looking for is a width that feels like it puts your knees in line with your hip sockets. Not the fleshy part of your hips, which might be wider, but the actual hip socket, which you can identify by palpating the front of your pelvic area. You'll find these bony protrusions, your ASIS bony landmarks on the front of your pelvis, and that gives you an idea of right about where your hip joints are, right? So narrower than the flesh. So that's where we want the knees to be aligned with that, with the bony part, not the fleshy part, okay? And then feet aligned with knees. Bring your arms down alongside your body, palms to the floor. Arrange your head so that the back of your neck feels nice and elongated. And then let the weight of your shoulders drop into the floor to create a sense of exposure for the front of your chest. And let's do about 5 deep, full inhales and exhales in this position. As you're breathing in, focus your attention on filling your lungs completely. So allowing the chest to expand to make room for the lungs to fill. And as you exhale, to assist the exhalation, you can produce a little bit of tone in the pelvic floor and the abdominal area rather than clenching and compressing your chest, right? So allow the muscular assist on the exhale to rise up from the pelvic floor and through the abdominal region. So now that I've said all that, let's breathe a couple more times. Take one more breath like that. filling the chest on the inhale, developing that gentle tone in the pelvic floor abdominal area on the exhale. And now let's bring that breathing into the first movement, right? So interlace your fingers, slip your hands behind your head, and lift your elbows a little bit off of the floor. So your arms are now going to cradle and support your head. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, curl your chest. Inhale, release your chest curl. Exhale, curl your chest. Right? So holding the block with a moderate effort between your legs so that you have a moderate activation of your inner thigh and pelvic floor muscles, which complements the moderate to strenuous effort that you're experiencing in your abdominal region to curl your chest away from the floor as you exhale and release the chest curl slowly as you inhale. So what we're trying to do here is to coordinate this effort called the chest curl with a little bit of a block squeeze and integrate the breathing. Exhaling as we perform the chest curl, inhaling fully as we release the chest curl. Let's do a couple more. And one more time. Breathing the chest curl, releasing the chest curl. Release your head to the mat. Bring your arms down alongside your body. Arrange your shoulder blades onto your back. Make any readjustments that you need to set up for bridging. So this bridging is going to be an articulated bridge, and it's going to take 2 full cycles of breath to complete 1 cycle of the bridge. So let's begin the bridge with an inhale. And then exhale, start articulating to bring the pelvis and the spine up off of the floor. Pause in the bridge, take a deep breath in, and then exhale, begin to unwind, rolling all the way back down. Right? So pause, take a breath in, exhale, and begin to roll yourself up into the bridge. Pause while you're in the bridge, and then exhale and roll yourself back down. Pause and inhale. Exhale, curling up into the bridge, pressing through the feet, pressing through the hands. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale and reverse, rolling back down. Pause, take a deep breath in neutral. Exhale as you roll up, moderately hugging the block, pressing through your feet, pressing through your hands, and then exhale and roll back down. Pause in neutral inhale. Exhale, roll yourself up into shoulder bridge. Pause and take a deep breath in. Exhale and roll yourself back down. We're going to do that several more times. Pause, breathe in. Exhale, roll yourself up into bridge. Remain lifted as you inhale fully. Exhale as you roll back down. Let's do that 3 times. One more time. Deep breath in. Exhale. Rolling up into bridge. Hold the lift. Inhale. Exhale, rolling all the way back down, letting everything come to rest. Lift your arms, interlace your fingers, slip your hands behind your head. Lift your elbows ever so slightly away from the floor, right? Turning your arms and hands into a cradle for your head. We're gonna go back to chest curl, but this variation is chest curl with rotation. We're gonna do 5 repetitions, starting with an inhale in the center. Exhale, squeeze the block, chest curl to the right. Inhaling all the way back to center. Exhale, hug the block, chest curl to the left. Inhaling all the way back to center. Exhale as you chest curl. Inhaling back to center. Exhale, chest curl to the left. Inhaling back to center. Keep reminding yourself what your arms are doing. Your arms are supporting your head so that your head can come with you as your abdominals and your obliques work on performing this chest curl with rotation, which is not the same as pulling on your head to do the movement, right? You're supporting your head, and that takes mindfulness, right? You have to really focus on what you're doing with your arms, because the natural inclination would be to pull. They're holding. One more time to the right side. Inhale to center. One more time to the left side. Inhale to center. Release your arms all the way back down by your sides. Bring your shoulder blades onto your back, arms long, palms down. We're going to do a non-articulated shoulder bridge. We're going to inhale and lift up into bridge and exhale and come back out. We'll do 5 of those. Inhale, pressing up. Exhale, lowering down. Mindful about what you're doing with your back muscles. Your back muscles are not your prime movers here. We're working primarily from the power of the legs and the buttocks, with support from the arms and the shoulders and the back muscles. And one more time, pressing up on the inhale and lowering down on the exhale. Now let's take the block out from between our legs and just set it off to the side. Step your legs together to touch and bring your heels as close to your bum as your knees will bend, right? So get your heels as close as you can, legs connected. Reach your arms out wide across the floor and turn your arms so that your palms face up, right? Put a little bit of effort into the reach of your arms, not up, but out, right? So you're really reaching out as if you were reaching out from your spine, okay? So we're gonna do a rotation with our legs really pressed strongly together. Take a deep breath in the center. Exhale, start to turn your legs, hips to the right, keeping your legs pressing together, inhaling back to the center. Exhale, keep your legs pressing together as you turn to the left, inhale back to the center. So by keeping your legs strongly pressing together, letting the bottoms of your feet tip up off the floor as you turn, you should experience this way up in your chest and arm area. Inhaling back to center and exhaling, legs pressing strongly as you turn. So I'm primarily feeling this as a very big opening and lengthening across my chest, armpits, and arms. Exhaling as you turn. Inhaling back to center. We'll go 2 more rounds. Inhaling back to center one more time, rotating to the right. Feeling that stretch in the left chest. Inhale to center. Exhale, rotating left. Inhaling back to center. Now, let's do something a little bit more core centric. So again, keeping your arms out to the sides, bring your legs up into a tabletop position with equal spacing between your feet and your knees. So you have to look with your eyes to see that your knees and your feet are several inches apart, right? So they're about the same, equidistant. Now maintain that spacing between your feet and your knees as you perform this rotation. So as you exhale, rotate a few degrees to the right, inhaling back to the center. Exhale, rotating your hips a few degrees to the left, inhaling back to center. So what is a few degrees? Well, if you think of the center as 12 o'clock, let's rotate between 10 and 2. Right? So if you're at the center, then you rotate to the right. Don't go past 2 o'clock. Back to the center. And when you rotate to the left, don't go past the 10 o'clock. And inhale to center. Now, your awareness will naturally be on your knees because with your eyes, you can probably see your knees when you're turning. But your legs are not what you're focused on when you're doing this variation of the turning. You want to feel your lumbar spine, which is in the area of your abdominals, right? That's the abdominal area, lumbar spine. You're feeling lumbar spine and pelvis turning. So what you see your legs doing is simply a reflection of what you're doing as you turn your pelvis from right to left. Let's do it one more time in each direction. You're not hanging from your muscles as you twist. You're actively twisting and untwisting. Finish with a turn to the left and come back to the center. Place your feet back down onto the mat, right? Bring your arms down alongside your body. And without the block, move your feet now a little bit away from your buttocks. Your knees are still bent, right? But you're giving yourself a little bit more space between your buttocks and your heels, arms alongside your body. We're going to do a third variation of the bridge. Now, the other thing to check in with is, do you have room to reach your arms overhead? So because we're at home and there might be furniture, take a moment to reposition yourself so that you have the room to lift your arms overhead when we do this bridge, okay? And also, I'll just add, make sure you have room out to the sides as well. So out to the sides and overhead. All right, so let's begin this with our arms down by our sides, right? So I'll just talk you through the first couple, and then we can start to integrate the breathing. So on the exhale, your arms are on the ground, you're rolling up into bridge. Stay in your bridge, inhale, lift your arms, bringing your arms up overhead. Now exhale, begin to roll your spine back down, feeling that stretch in your arms. To complete the movement, sweep your arms across the floor and bring your arms back down by your sides. So again, the movement is rolling up to bridge, staying in the bridge, lifting the arms overhead, keeping the arms overhead as you roll back down, and then sweeping the arms across the floor to bring your arms back down by your sides. Exhale as you curl up. Inhale as you lift your arms overhead. Exhale as you roll yourself back down, and inhale as you sweep your arms back down by your sides. Exhale as you curl up. Inhale, lift your arms up overhead. Exhale, rolling down. And inhale, sweep your arms back down by your sides. I know that some of you have issues with your shoulders. And so I hope that you're finding a way to make this comfortable, to have your arms reaching overhead. Perhaps you're not reaching your arms all the way, and that's absolutely fine. So modify that movement in any way that makes it more comfortable for you to get your arms somewhat reached overhead as you roll back down. Let's do two more. Exhale as you roll yourself up. Stay lifted as you inhale. Bring your arms up overhead. Exhale as you roll that spine back down. Inhale your arms down by your sides. Last one. Exhale, curling up. Inhale, lifting those arms up overhead. Exhale, really work here bone by bone, bringing that spine back down to the floor. And then bringing those arms all the way back down by your sides, right? So, two things that you might have discovered when you were doing that. One is that you may have an irritation in your shoulder or arm, reaching your arms overhead. So, you just modify and make that as comfortable as you can. The other thing you might have noticed is that that variation might have sent your hamstrings into cramping, right? So, now we're going to do another bridge. I've lost count which variation we're on. It could be the fourth to open up those hamstrings. So let's set this bridge up. Your heels a little closer to your buttocks than on the previous one. Arms down alongside your body. We're going to lift up into bridge and take a moment to set this up. So for this one, we want the shoulder blades a little bit more on our back, certainly not pinching, right? But definitely on our back with some good energy in your arms, right? Now, your legs should feel like your feet are below your knees and that but you don't want to have your heels too close to your butt. Otherwise, your knees are going to be straining in this position. Really press through your feet to stay lifted and pick up your right leg, reaching it up into the air, straight up into the air. Now sweep your leg down slowly, flex your foot, bring your leg up. There's the hamstring stretch. Point as you lower your leg, flex as you raise your leg back up. Point as you sweep down, flex as you hinge up. Two more. Point, hinging down, flex, hinging up. One more time. Point and flex. Bend your knee. Bring your foot to the mat. Okay, stay in the bridge. Try to reorganize the bridge without dropping out. Take the left leg up into the air, foot long. We're going to hinge the leg down, flex the foot, hinge the leg up. Point the foot, hinge down. Flex the foot, hinge up. Point and flex. Two more. Point and flex. One more. Point and flex. Bend your knee, place your foot down, and then relax your shoulders, relax your arms, relax your spine. Roll all the way back down to the mat. Stretch your left leg onto the floor, foot flexed. Stretch your right leg up into the air, foot flexed. Stretch your arms out to the sides, right? So we're creating these nice long lines of length, right? And where does this length originate? Well, Pilates would say the spine, right? And it makes sense because what is in the spine, the spinal cord? What does the spinal cord represent? The conduit of information, right? Superhighway. So from the brain to the appendages, from the appendages to the brain, the nervous system. So from the spine to the limbs, we energetically extend outwards, upwards, downwards. Bring the right leg down. Bring the left leg up into the air. Single leg up the wall. Extending out from the spine in all four directions, right, left, down, up. Take one more breath. And then release that left leg all the way down to the mat. Okay. Now, let's start to warm up the anterior core, the abdominal region specifically for some more powerful work. So let's keep the left leg long and bring the right knee up. Okay, and when you take a hold of your right leg, your hands are going to touch your shin. See if you can do it without overlapping or interlacing your hands. So your hands are individual. They each get a section of your shin. Okay. And so you've got a hold of your shin, right? Your elbows are bent, your shoulders are not hunched. Now, with your abdominal strength, tilt your, well, not your abdominal strength, but tilt your chin. Now, recruit your abdominals and curl up, right? So a strong knee to chest. Begin to lift your left leg a little bit off the mat. Feel your abdominals contract, your back lengthen, hold and breathe. Elbows slightly lifted, shoulders soft. One more breath. And then slowly lower down, release, let go of that right leg, lengthen it. Bring the left knee to the chest. Again, hands get their each get their own section of your shin, right? Elbows are slightly out, shoulders are soft. Tuck your chin, strong core contraction to curl up. Bring that right leg up off of the ground. Don't try to reach forward from your head. Contract your abdominals and flex your spine. Elbows slightly lifted, shoulders dropped. One more breath. And then slowly lower down, stretch out your leg. Let your arms relax for a moment. Let your head gently roll from side to side. Okay, so we're gonna work towards doing something called a crisscross. So we're gonna work on developing the strength. So by the time we get to the full crisscross, you're gonna feel really ready for that. So let's go to hands behind the head first, so the neck has some support, elbows wide. And I know that not everybody can rest their elbows on the floor, so you just rest your elbows as wide as your elbows go. Take your legs a little bit wider than hips distance so you feel like an X, okay? And on the exhale, we're gonna bring the right knee towards the left chest. So pause for a moment. What we're doing here is a chest curl with rotation, and we're adding flexion of a leg, and then release. Let's do the other side. We're bringing that left knee towards the right chest. It's a chest curl with rotation, and we're adding the flexion of the left leg. And now we're just going to go from side to side. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Mindful what you're doing with your arms. Again, keep setting the intention to use the arms to provide support for the head and the neck, and recruit from the powerful muscles of your core region to perform the movement without heavily relying on your arms. One more time from side to side. You should be feeling something by now, I hope. Come back to center, release your head, let your arms relax. Take a couple belly breaths. Right, so hopefully you're starting to feel a really nice sense of life brewing in that abdominal area, right? Now, let's bring the legs to hips distance, right? So in parallel, and then bring your right leg up into a tabletop position, but not on a diagonal. So your legs are still in parallel, okay? Slip your hands behind your head, okay? And then what I want you to do is to do a upper body chest curl with rotation and freeze. Now, your leg is not on the diagonal. It's in parallel to the other leg. And in this position, frozen, I want you to raise your left leg half the distance to the ceiling, right? Feel that work. Lower your leg, lower your chest, lower your right leg. Okay, pause. Bring your left leg up into tabletop. So we're breaking this whole thing down. Do a chest curl with rotation towards your left leg. Again, your left leg's not on a diagonal, it's parallel to the right. Raise your right leg half the distance to the ceiling. Feel your core kick in. Lower your leg, come back to center with your chest, release your left leg. Now, before we proceed, I just want to say one thing. So, when we put this all together, if you immediately start to feel tension in your back, what's happening is your the weight of your legs is overwhelming your abdominal strength, and the arch of the natural curve of your back is beginning to increase, right? So the solution, there are a couple things to do. One is recruit more from your abdominal region, right? If you can, if you're not maxed out. The other is when you have that other leg lifted, lift it even higher, right? So here, I'll show you. So come back to the starting position, hands behind your head, left leg is straight on the floor, right leg is bent in tabletop. Do a chest curl with rotation towards the right. Pick your left leg up. Keep bringing it up, bringing it up, bringing it up. Notice if your left leg is higher, it's easier for you to not arch your back, right? And then let's do the other side. So release your right leg, bring your left leg to tabletop. Do a chest curl with rotation to the left. Bring your right leg up. Keep bringing it up until you find the point where you're not arching. That's your height, right? Bring it down, release your leg. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to begin with right leg in tabletop, right? We're going to do a chest curl to the right, pick up the left leg to the right height. Now, switch, 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 whew, switch, switch, last one, switch, set your legs down, release your head, release your arms. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating so much right now. Whew, what a thing to do in these hot summer days. Okay, so that's a lot of work. Hopefully that went really, really well for you. Let's grab our knees and just give our body some love by circling our pelvis in one direction and circling our pelvis in the other direction, not your leg. You're not doing anything with your legs. You're just passively circling your pelvis. Good. Now, form a ball. Right hand to right shin, left hand to left shin. Tuck your chin, curl yourself up, take your elbows out a little, drop your shoulders. Again, feel that core musculature kick in now to help you here. Let's start rolling. So get some momentum going. Notice if your rolling got any smoother because your core is working more effectively, right? Your ability to roll has everything to do with your ability to recruit your abdominals. Last one, roll all the way up. And now let's reverse everything. Not undo it, but let's work the opposite side of the body. So let's come on to our stomach. Come on to your stomach with your legs long, your arms alongside your body, your palms facing down, and the tip of your nose facing towards the mat. Right? Let's just take a moment to come back and reconnect with our breathing. And when we breathe in this position, what we notice right away is that it's a different experience, right? We're laying on our front side. The weight of our body is changing significantly how we expand when we inhale. It's the back of the chest now, the back of the abdomen, that has to be able to move, to expand and make room for the breath. So if we're really tight in our back, this can actually feel somewhat unnerving, right? So just keep working on softening and opening those back tissues with a deeper breath. So let's first work on developing the muscles of backwards chest lift combined with spinal extension. So the feet stay flat on the floor. The hands will remain in contact with the floor. We'll start by taking a deep breath in. And as we exhale, lift the chest, extending the spine, inhaling and lowering back down. We're going to do 10 of these, moving with the breath. Bring your upper arms with you as you lift, but your hands can stay in contact with the floor. Your glutes perform an important role in stabilizing and creating an anchor for you. Let's do a couple more. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you lower. And one more. Exhale as you lift. And inhale as you lower down. Let your hands overlap and become a pillow for your forehead. And without bending your knees, just soften through your back and wiggle your hips slowly from side to side. Again, I'm not a big fan of the windshield wiper when we're laying in this position, because it's my feeling that actually can tug on the back muscles in a way that is not helpful for some people. But I find that this way of releasing back tension seems to work for just about everybody. Okay, now that the back muscles are primed, right? Let's advance a little bit. Okay, so let's add legs first. So keep your hands overlapped, forehead on your hands, legs long, feet pointed, right? And the legs a little bit wider than hips distance apart. Okay, so we're going to, on the exhale, raise one leg up off of the floor. Inhale and place that leg down. Exhale, raise the other leg up off the floor. Inhale and place the leg down. Now, when you raise one leg away from the floor, notice if you feel your pelvis significantly shifting in the opposite direction, right? So when I raise my right leg, what I don't want to experience is a significant feeling of my pelvis moving to the left. And when I raise my left leg, I don't want to experience the pelvis being pushed to the right. So if you feel that, when you raise one leg, if you feel your torso getting pushed in the opposite direction, what can you do about it? Well, you can create a little bit of tone deep in your abdominal region to create some stability between your pelvis, lumbar spine, and rib cage. The deepest layer of muscle in the abdominal region is the transversus abdominis. And that muscle, which is enormous and expansive, it can connect muscularly the pelvis, the lumbar spine, and the rib cage, creating stability for that abdominal lumbar region. Let's raise each leg one more time. And then pause and set the legs down. Now bring the legs into parallel. Come up onto your elbows. Elbows under shoulders. Let's go hands straight out in front of elbows, long fingers, right? Long fingers. Now, use your glutes to help kind of anchor your upper thighs to the mat, right? So we don't want to use the glutes to and feel like we're driving into the low back. We want to use the glutes to feel like they're helping to hold the legs firmly down to the floor. And then that allows us to use the spinal extensors to create this really nice, healthy arch and lift in the spine. Collarbones are long, right? Right. So again, we're reaching out from the spine out to the right, out to the left. And now let's do 2 bends of each knee, once with the foot pointed, once with the foot flexed, and then set the leg down. So it's point, flex, or flex, point. And you can do a little pumping breath like I'm doing, or you can do a non-pumping breath. But the pumping breath actually helps me to keep count. So you could think of it as a little variation on pranayama. Let's do a couple more. One more for each. And then let's lower all the way down, overlap your hands. Let everything settle and come to rest. And rather than windshield wiper, just do this really nice slow motion, sassy sway of your hips to massage and release your low back tissue. Now we're going to do another variation on a movement that strengthens our back. Okay, our whole back, right? Not just our spinal muscles, but the whole back side of the body. So for this one, you're going to turn your head to the right, so you're feeling your left cheek touch the floor, and you're going to bring your hands behind your back, not interlacing the fingers, but just overlapping your hands. Your elbows are bent, okay? And you're going to start with your legs touching and everything kind of soft, right? So the first thing you're going to do with your legs is you're going to flex your knees 1, 2, 3 times. Now, begin to lift everything, straightening your arms, lifting your back, lifting your legs. Turn your head to the left, lower down, flex your elbows, bend your knees. Once, twice, 3 times. Lift everything up and soften down. 2, 3 knee bends, lifting up and lowering down. Bending the knees 3 times. Lifting up, taking a big breath in and lowering down, bending the knees. Lifting everything up, 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 and turning the head. Last one. Lifting up, energizing that whole back line. Lower down to the middle, release your hands, overlap, create a pillow for your forehead. Take a moment, let everything start to release and relax, sway your hips. If you know which part of your spine is your sacrum, you could even think about swaying your sacrum. Now, let's bring our hands next to our chest, pick ourselves up off of the floor, and come up onto our hands and knees. So if you would like to take the blanket or towel and pad your knees while you're here, because we're going to do a little bit of movement from this position, go ahead and take care of yourself in that way. And as you're getting yourself established here in hands and knees, spread the fingers nice and wide, right? Hands below the armpits or shoulders, knees below the hip sockets, right? And take a moment just to notice what you naturally do with your arms. A lot of people twist their elbows forward, which hunches the shoulders. So you want to make sure that your arms are rotated in a way where your shoulders do not feel hunched and twisted forwards up towards your head. Okay. Let's do a spinal articulation from this position, moving with our breath. So let's start in neutral with an inhale. As you exhale, start at the base of the spine, begin to engage the abdominals and the chest muscles to round the back and open the shoulders and spine. Pause, take a deep breath in. Now exhale, begin to uncurl the spine, lengthening the belly, lengthening the chest, engaging the back line. Pause and take a deep breath in. Exhale, reverse, curling, engaging the front muscles to open up the back. Take a deep breath into the spaces. And then reverse, engaging the muscles along the spinal column, all the way up between the shoulder blades and to the neck. Take a deep breath in. Let's do that 2 more times. Exhale, flexion of the spine. Take a breath in. Exhale, rolling beyond extension and into arching. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, articulating into flexion, breathing in. And lastly, articulating into what we would say is hyperextension because we're back bending. And take a deep breath in and then find your way back to neutral. Good. Let's turn and come on to our side. And let's start on our left side, if you can, with your left knee bent and your right leg straight. And if it's possible for you, what I'd like you to do is to have both of your arms overhead with your fingers long and your palms pressed together. So your hands are kind of like in a prayer pose with your arms reaching up overhead. And then hold your right leg a few inches above the floor and take a moment to feel your body, right? So you want to make sure that you're not twisted. Your pelvis and your rib cage are aligned with each other, right? So there's no rotation pelvis relative to rib cage. Now, begin to breathe fluidly as you circle your right leg continuously. Right, pace yourself, right? I'm noticing some people might be taking the leg quite high. Notice that I'm not, right? So I just want to make sure that I feel my foot is making a full orbit around the center of my hip socket, right? So sometimes what happens when we circle the leg too high is we don't circle the leg low enough. So I'm trying to create what feels to me like a uniform circle around the center of my hip socket, up, down, forwards, and backwards. Now pause, find the center. Let your leg represent the center of your hip socket. And now reverse your circle. Think about again, your foot is orbiting around the center of your hip joint. So if your circle is coming way up here, then you'd have to go through the floor to really orbit your hip joint, right? So you have to shave off some on the top in order to make a non-elliptical orbit. Take a couple more circles. Really feel those hip muscles working. Yes, indeedy do. and then pause and set that leg down. Now, let's come up onto that left elbow and forearm and hand, okay? And very specifically, we want to position this left elbow directly underneath the shoulder joint. And I like to have my arm in what's called an external rotation. So it's a little bit turned away from the front of the body towards the top of the mat, right? I feel like that helps me to get better stability for my scapula, my shoulder blade, right? Bottom leg is bent, top leg is straight, foot is on the floor. We're going to do a side raise, okay? So that means that we have to have the left shoulder in a really good situation. Otherwise, it's not going to be good for the left shoulder. So we don't want to be leaning at all on the left shoulder to start. What we want to do is we want to press out of the left shoulder. So you feel as if your whole torso is moving away from your left arm, right? Now you're in a good position to lift your left hip up and then set your left hip back down. So take a moment before every hip lift. Ensure that you're pressing away from the floor through your left arm. Lift your left hip and then lower your left hip. Pause. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Take a breath in and exhale. So we're slowing it way down. Take a deep breath in to prepare for the movement. Exhale as you lift. Support that lift while you take a quick breath in. Exhale as you come back down. Inhale, prepare for the lift. Exhale, perform the lift. Take a breath in the lift. Exhale, lower out of the lift, right? Take a break if you need to. We're going to do a couple more. Exhale, lift the hip. Inhale in the side bend. Exhale as you lower your left hip. We'll go two more. Take a deep breath in. Exhale as you lower back down. Last one. Take a deep breath. Exhale as you lift up. Take a breath. And then lower all the way back down, right? Come off of your elbow, extend your left arm onto the floor, get really long in your whole body line from your legs through your torso, through your left arm. And then either place your right hand on the floor or on a yoga block if the floor feels too far away, or go for the balance and have your right arm alongside your body for side raise. Okay, take a deep breath in, exhale, coming up into side raise. Inhaling fully as you lower back down. Exhaling, inhaling. You are not pushing away from the ground with your left arm. Your left arm is simply representing a contact patch with the floor. The strength of your lift comes from your torso and your hips and your legs. Concentrating on finding a way to balance without adding any rotation. The muscles that side bend your torso are primarily deep inside your abdomen and on your back. So if you're feeling a lot of work in your back, you are feeling it in the right area, but also on your side. But you might be feeling too much work in your back if you're arching when you lift. So just be aware of that as a possibility. We're going to do two more. And one more lift. Exhale. And inhale all the way back down. Let's roll onto our backs. Roll onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest. Let your legs relax. And just guide your pelvis around in circles. So the movement is massaging your low back, massaging the back of your pelvis. And then reverse the direction of your circles. And release your feet to the floor. Roll to one side to pick yourself up and switch over to the other side. So we're going to begin with circles. Bend your bottom knee, which in my case is the right. Extend your arms overhead with your hands in prayer. Unless that doesn't work for you, then do what is a better modification for you. Now, let's just start this off on the right foot. Well, really the left foot. So hold your left leg in a position where you feel like your left leg is in line with your hip socket. Okay. Now, as you perform your leg circles, breathing continuously, you want to feel as though the movement of your left foot is circling around your hip socket in a perfect circle. So that awareness is an actual sense, and it is called proprioceptive awareness or proprioception. It is the sense that is related to highly coordinated movements. Pause in the center. Reverse your circle. So without seeing your leg, you can't see your hip joint, right? You might not be able to see your foot, but you can feel your hip socket, feel your foot. Your leg is circling, and you're trying to circle around the center of your hip socket smoothly without throwing your leg around. Training the nervous system to do a strong, stable, coordinated movement. 2 more circles. You're going to feel the burn, as Jane Fonda used to say. Pause in the center and rest that leg down. Maybe Jane Fonda still says that. So let's come up onto our elbow, keeping that bottom knee bent. We're going to take this right arm and we're going to do a slight external rotation, right? So your hand is kind of going towards the top of your mat. Your left leg is straight and your foot is on the ground, okay? And so we're going to slow this way down like we did on the first side. So you have to press away from that right elbow. That gets those shoulder muscles contracted. Now take a deep breath. Exhale, lift your right hip up, breathe into the side lift, and then exhale and lower down. We take a moment to inhale, prepare for the movement. Exhale, perform the movement. Inhale, enjoy the movement, and exhale, come back out. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Always making sure that that bottom shoulder is set before we initiate the motion, right? And we're not trying to, stabilizing a shoulder does not mean immobilizing a shoulder, right? The shoulder is actually still going through some motion, but it starts off already active. The muscles that surround and envelop the shoulder are already engaged. We're not waiting until the load is present to engage the muscles. Let's do it one more time. Big breath, and then lower all the way back down. Come off of your elbow, elongate, get everything into one long line. If you like to have the yoga block on the floor for your left hand, that's great. You can totally do that. You don't have to do it with your arm alongside your body if you're struggling with that today. Okay. One also note here, if you know you arch your back when you do this, make sure that your legs don't start off behind you. Start off with your legs in line with the rest of you. Take a deep breath in and exhale, coming up into side lift. Inhale as you lower back down. We are learning how to effectively recruit the muscles that not only side bend, but also balance. Breathing, focusing, concentrating, the mind and the body working together synergistically. Let's do a few more. Last one. And lowering all the way down, rolling onto the back, bringing your knees into your chest and performing the very gentle movement of circling so that you feel that massage, that release in your low back and in the back of your pelvis. And then reverse. Release your feet to the mat. And then just make yourself comfortable on your mat. So stretch your legs out long, let your arms come to rest on the floor. I've run out of time, so we'll have to save the stretch with the strap for another day. Let's just come onto our back in this Shavasana-like posture and take a few moments to bring some conscious awareness to the feeling in the body that follows the kind of work we do in this mindful practice. Intentionally noticing the sensations in the body, the feeling of warmth, perhaps perspiration, right? The heart and pulse, the heartbeat and the pulse through the tissues. Because we need to bring awareness to the beneficial aspects of these practices because they do take time and they do take energy. And unless we're aware of the rewards for the effort, we sometimes can lose our willingness. We lose interest in these practices. So we just take these few moments to nourish the interest, to nourish the commitment. And when you're ready, you can bring your knees to your chest and give yourself a squeeze. Rock a little bit from side to side to come up off of the floor.